Hey everybody over at movies.com. It is the Schmoes Know Movie Show. I'm Christian.
And I am Mark. Christian, this weekend you have The Expendables 3 in theaters, you have this weird little movie called Frank, you have The Giver, and we're not going to talk about any of those movies because this week we lost one of the greatest comedic minds of all time and a brilliant actor, Mr. Robin Williams.
We've had a ton of celebrity deaths over for as long as you and I have been alive, and as far as even this year we lost the great Philip Seymour Hoffman. A celebrity death has never impacted me as much as the passing of Robin Williams. He was an inspiration to me as a stand-up comedian, and I know to you as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Maybe no person has ever made me want to make people laugh more than Robin Williams, watching him first on stage as a comic, then I'd see reruns of Mork and Mindy, and then you see what he's able to do going from one of the funniest humans that ever lived into being this great dramatic actor that could win awards.
You forget that the guy went to Juilliard.
Yeah, he was with Christopher Reeve. Yeah,
they were really good buddies, and it's horrible, absolutely horrible that he's gone. But he leaves behind a body of work that is incredible. There's so many great ones. It's so hard to put together a top 5 greatest Robin Williams list, but we're gonna try. Mark, let's start with number 5.
Well, number 5 is a film that endeared him to a new generation of kids because he was the voice of the genie in the Disney classic Aladdin.
Now, a lot of times when you hear actors doing it, I really believe, I know that they did it for a long time, famous actors doing it, but when Robin Williams did the voice of the genie, that was when you really associated movie star with cartoon voice, because that was one of the most iconic cartoon characters still.
And I really don't understand how the animators were able to do this with what Robin Williams is able to do when he improvs in the sound booth. Is it, do they draw a little bit, then he does it, then they just keep going back and forth, and the movie takes 10 years to make? I don't know how they pulled it off, but they did, and it's magnificent. And it maybe is my favorite Disney film of all time because of Robin Williams.
He's so good, and it was that what the genie did. A lot of times the genie could be scary, but this genie, it wasn't. He was the buddy. He was the lovable goof that had that Robin Williams charm.
So the one thing the genie couldn't do, turn him into a woman, but that happened at number 4.
Number 4, Doubtfire. This is a movie that I remember seeing and going into the movie going, oh man, Robin, what are you doing? This is gonna be terrible. And I watched it, and it's one of my favorite movies that he has done ever because it has such a heart to it, and again, using that Robin Williams spin on it, it could have gone so wrong.
It could have gone so creepy that there's his dad that got divorced and he wants to see his kids so bad he dresses up. He's an imposter just to see his kids, and it ends up being one of the most heartwarming family films of the 90s, so much so, and it holds up so well that they had a sequel in the works. It looked like it was finally going to get greenlit.
All right. Number 3. It's going to be very hard to get through this without the sadness involved as well. But number 3, Dead Poets Society. Oh, my captain, my captain.
Yeah, carpe diem, boys. I mean, he plays a teacher who is the inspiration to the boys because he's not the conventional way that you might look at a professor, especially in a very strict boarding school like what these kids are going to. And Dead Poets Society, along with some of the other films we're going to talk about later, was one of the first announcements. Like, The World According to Garp was maybe the first time that Robin Williams proved he could be a great serious actor. Dead Poets Society was like, this guy should win an award for this.
He did, and he was able, that's where you saw that talent for Juilliard really pop in there, what he knew. I mean, the guy was yes, he was one of the funniest individuals on the planet, but he could also tap into that pain and that dark side, but that teacher, that mentor, and that's what he did so well in Dead Poets Society.
And you saw his tremendous energy that he had in that, and I don't think that he's ever been able to combine his humor and his dramatic chops better than in 1987's Good Morning Vietnam. It's one of the most classic things I won't even try to imitate right now when he comes on the radio for the first time and he yells Good Morning Vietnam, and it's an announcement to the world that Robin Williams is probably the funniest human that ever lived.
And it's interesting too because he tried for a long time to get his movie career off the ground with Altman's Popeye Mist, and he did other ones that tried to work, and it didn't work. This was his first one that was a hit. This was the first movie that he put out there that people went, oh, okay, that's that funny guy, and he's a really good actor too.
Mork's on the air.
And it was a movie that really launched his career, if you will, in the movie atmosphere.
Yeah, but he won his only Academy Award for 1997, 1998. It came out in the late 90s. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote it, and they could not have cast a better mentor therapist for Matt Damon's Will Hunting than Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting is one of my favorite movies of all time, not just Robin Williams' performance, but what Robin Williams did so well in this is that a lot of times when you saw Robin Williams on talk shows or everything too, you were just like, oh, he's always on, he's always on. He was so toned down in this movie. He was like a normal, the normal guy. I think that the guy that you might see when he's not, when the camera's roaring on him, when he was able to tap into that caring, the kindness, the humor was there, absolutely. But it was, again, back to that mentor thing, and it was just like he was on the same level as Will Hunting, and there was a respect there. It's an incredible.
It's great to see him slowly break down Will Hunting and make him emotionally vulnerable to the point where he can become a real human being. And again, that's the best, I think, for this list. But there's so many honorable mentions that, like another movie where he has a beard that proved he could be a tremendous serious actor, Awakenings.
Yep.
Like we went to The World According to Garp, and then you have just these crazy comedies.
Jumanji.
As well. You give it to Jumanji. Flubber. I mean, look, the guy was so good. And let's not forget that, yes, he was a great actor. But again, the stand-up and the late-night talk show appearances are what first endeared me to Robin Williams. And he's just like, I can't believe that he's not around anymore.
I literally was thinking the same thing as you were saying. It's horrible. It's horrible that he's gone, but we will have so much material to be able to watch and honor him. And I hope that this list makes you go back and watch some of these movies if you've never seen them before. Check out his great catalog, and we will also be doing for our live show that we do on Thursday nights. We'll be doing a full hour for the late great Robin Williams. So check that out on our schmoesknow.com site.
Yeah, you totally get a pass for not going to the movie theaters this week. And if you happen to venture out, then you get to see either The Expendables 3 or The Giver or Frank, which is a quirky movie. If it's playing in your area, you might want to check it out. But if you're me, I'm just going to go watch Good Morning Vietnam again.